Hello, friends. Welcome to the Bradford National Bank Podcast Studio here in beautiful downtown Highland, Illinois. We are here for the Highland Dirt Podcast. Let's go. I'm your host, Kurt Vonder. Haar. How is everybody doing tonight? You doing all right? I'm doing fantastic. Running just a few minutes behind tonight, but we're here. We're only a few days away from cars on the track at world famous Highland Speedway. Hello to all of our friends watching there live on social media via Facebook, YouTube, and X. If you have questions for Jason Feger, the Highside Hustler, here in a few minutes, put them in the comments. We'll do our best to get to them. Again, we got a great show for you tonight. Joining me as always is my co-host, local racing dirt racing expert, Jacob Blumenstein. And in just a few minutes, we'll be joined by our special guest, the pilot of the Rolling Dice, number 25 super late model, the Highside Hustler, Jason Feger. And the Highland Dirt Podcast is brought to you, as always, by Jansen Auto Group. Hundreds of vehicles are available right now at gojansen.com with Jansen Ford Breeze, Jansen Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Carmi, and Jansen Chevrolet in Germantown. They have just the vehicle you're looking for. You can search their entire inventory at gojansen.com. That's go, JANSEN.com. Jansen Auto Group is proud to support local dirt track racing and world famous Highland Speedway. Well, you might be asking yourself, what is the Highland Dirt Podcast? Real quick, the Highland Dirt Podcast features dirt racing talk plus news, information, and interviews from your favorite people and personalities in and around world famous Highland Speedway. Next question, what is Highland Speedway? Maybe you're new to the podcast. Highland Speedway is a quarter-mile bull ring style dirt track located in beautiful Highland, Illinois. We're 30 minutes east of St. Louis, Missouri. We've been racing in the dirt on Saturday nights since 1962, getting ready to start our 63rd season of racing. We race super late models, modifieds, pro modifieds, and street stocks, all under the Dirt Car banner, plus micro sprints, 410 wing sprints, Extreme Outlaw Series, 4 cylinders, vintage, kids mods. We race them all in a covered facility with seating for 3,000, located on the beautiful Madison County Fairgrounds. Did you get all that? Did you take notes? Well, now that you know a little bit about the podcast, you got a brief history lesson on Highland Speedway. Let me introduce my co-host for tonight. He's a dirt racing fanatic. He has more streaming subscriptions than pets. He knows pretty much every driver that's stepped in a late model the last 10 years. And he's prepping for another run at the Warrior Division title, right, in 2024 at Highland. It's Jacob Blumenstein. What's up, Jacob?
What's going on, Kurt?
I'm doing great. How's the weather 2 blocks over?
It's breezy here. I don't know about it. If it's over there. It was awfully nice, and I got the windows open, and I had shut the one a little bit ago. It's getting a little cool inside.
If Jacob has his window open, he might hear the Highland Dirt Podcast across the field. So Jacob and I live pretty close to each other, but we're doing the podcast from our own individual studios here tonight. Before we bring on our guest for tonight, we got Jason Feger on tonight. I know you're a big fan of Feger. We watched Feger win. We watched him win from the infield back in 2020. And I'll never forget that you made the comment with about, I'd say 15, 20 laps to go. You said Feger's coming. And I'm like, I didn't even see it. All of a sudden, here comes Feger around the bottom. And what he come from 16th to win the race that year in 2020.
Deep. It was 16th or 17th. I'm like, yeah, we were standing there. I'm like, Kurt, yeah, he's gonna win this thing.
You were elbowing me. I'm like, I didn't even see it coming. So the Highside Hustler won on the low side, won catfishing at Highland Speedway back in 2020. That was the Summer Nationals race in July 2020. A few things we're going to talk about before we bring Jason on, though. And we'll share the screen here so some people can see what we got going on. So we did make some improvements to the track over the weekend. Several volunteers were out doing some work on the track. It was great. What we got here, this is actually some work that was done a couple of weeks prior to. One of our teams came out, one of our micro sprint teams came out and basically tripled the size of the handicapped area. Have you seen this, Jacob?
I have not. I've seen pictures. I know over the weekend they're doing some work. I rode up to the top where you can fans enter, and the gate was locked. So I haven't got to see a whole lot.
Yep. So I thankfully got a key. So call me next time. I'll let you in. But yeah, they tripled the size of the handicapped area. So they did a great job. Shout out to our micro sprint driver, Braunmeyer. So that Braunmeyer family came out I think his grandmother or great grandmother likes to come out to the races. She wanted a little more space. They donated the supplies and the labor and got it done. So that was great. Also, another picture I have here. So if you're familiar with the track, and Jacob, if you know the track, this is the South Pits. So if you know what the South Pits looked like before this, Jacob, does this look a little different to you now?
Yeah, it's a lot more wide open.
So we're gonna have overflow this year with some of our big shows. We got to have room there in the South Pits. So man, they cleared out. Look at all those trees that got cleared out there on the right. And also, if you take a look behind, I don't have a good picture of it. They cleared out all the trees in between the grandstands and the cattle shed there. So no more limbs falling, no more trees falling. Nice clear view through there now. So they all did a great job. So shout out to all the volunteers that went out there to the Madison County Fair. I know they did a lot of great work out there, Jacob.
Yeah, we got another Max, and me and the wife we went and tooled around both days and kind of checked it out, and it looks really good.
Yeah, fantastic job. So shout out to the Madison County Fair volunteers that came out and got that done. So a couple other things we're going to talk about real quick. We do have a big race that was announced just this week on the Highland Speedway page. So the micro sprints are coming for a big race on June 1st. So a couple of companies, Jacob, have stepped up to the plate, Freedom of Speech Therapy, Advantage Nursing, and they're putting on a 3,250 to win micro sprint race. Now, I know, Jacob, you said you like to watch micro sprints. They're your favorite car to watch about twice a year.
No, that's sprint cars. I do like watching the micros on a weekly basis. They do put on a good show, and I think this will be a big race. I've got into the micros a little bit watching the Tulsa Shootout, and there's thousands of cars that go to a Tulsa Shootout. Granted, it's a pretty prestigious race, but that pays 1,000 to win. So $3,000 to win. I think there's going to be quite a few micros at this show.
Yeah, I'd argue that the micro sprints on a week-to-week basis, I would say, put on some of the best racing at Highland Speedway. What do you think?
Yeah, when the track's right, they put on very good racing. Sometimes when the track's a little bottom dominant, they're fighting for the bottom. But there's been some races this year where they're able to run the top and work up some momentum, and they do put on some good racing.
Yep. So again, without limits 20, Saturday, June 1st at world famous Highland Speedway, 3,250 to win, 300 to start micro sprints. We're also racing modifieds, pro modifieds, and street stocks that night. It's an autism awareness night, so it's going to be for a great cause. Again, thank you to Freedom of Speech Therapy and Advantage Nursing for that. One other thing we want to announce. So we got practice coming up. Jacob, you going to be at practice?
I may go watch. I won't be there with the car. I don't know if the car is going to be ready, and I don't know if I'll be ready. I don't know if I need it, and I'm not being cocky by any means, but whenever the first night is, I'll be ready for that.
Well, open practice, first time cars on the track this year, Sunday, March 10th. So coming up Sunday, pit pass for all the drivers, $20 a piece. Grandstands are open to the public for free though. So if you want to come watch some dirt cars run around the track for open practice, we'll be there from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Sunday, March 10th out at the Speedway. So come out and join us for that. Always a fun time. You usually get to see maybe a couple of cars that you don't always see on the track either. So that's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Nope, go ahead.
I'm just ready to see cars on the track. So if I'm sitting around the house on Sunday and I can hear cars, I'll probably venture my way over and sit in the grandstands, weather depending.
So we're probably about, as a crow flies, Jacob and I, about half a mile from the track. So yeah, if there's a car that runs out there, we hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Another thing, want to give a shout out to the Pioneer newspaper, local newspaper here. They put Highland Speedway on the front page. So go pick up your free Pioneer newspaper. You can pick it up at True Buy, at lots of your favorite retail locations. Again, they've got a great front page story, nice big story on Highland Speedway. And you can always find the weekly results in the Pioneer newspaper, along with lots of other media sources. So, Jacob, what do you say we bring on our guest for tonight?
Yeah, I'm ready. I am a big Jason Feger fan. I've had couple interactions with him, and he doesn't know me from Adam, and he's been nothing but awesome. There's one night about Tri City 10 years ago, I had a Jason Feger hoodie on. I walked past him in the pits, and he goes, "Hey, thanks for buying a hoodie." And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he's had some of his biggest wins. Maybe at Highland Speedway, he's a big fan favorite. Whenever he's there, you'll always see, even when he's not there, you'll see green Jason Fager hoodies in the grandstands. He's the defending dirt car, the late model national champion, and the defending Mars Series champ. So he's coming to us tonight, all the way from up north in Bloomington, Illinois. It's Jason Fager, everybody. What's up, Jason?
Not much, just waiting on you guys.
All right, man. I'm glad to bring you on here. What have you been up to the last few weeks? We haven't seen you since the Gateway Dirt Nationals. I know you had Hustler Fest. Your annual party was a few weeks ago. How'd that go?
It was crazy. It was our biggest one by far. We had about 700 people there, so
Wow.
it was insane. Definitely a little overwhelming. But I think about 600 adults, and there was over 100 kids there. So it's a family-friendly event, and it was a huge turnout. So if we get much bigger, I don't know where we're going to do it because we're in a really big building, but it's pretty full.
You put it in the convention center up there, right?
Yeah, it's called the Interstate Center, so it's at our fairgrounds. So it's a really big place, but we can cram some more tables and chairs in there. But we'll work on that for next year.
And I mean, you had silent auction items, you had giveaways, you had food, you had drinks. I mean, it's a hell of a party. So go on Jason Fager. If you go on his Facebook page or any of his socials, you'll find all kinds of pictures from it. But besides that, you've been getting the car ready. You getting tuned up for the season?
Yeah, I was in New Zealand racing there for a few weeks, so that was a good time. And then the guys went down to Florida. My crew guys did and helped Tim Lance for a couple weeks. So we all had kind of a few weeks off, you could say, but we were also racing too. So, but yeah, now we're back at it. Been at it really hard. The nice weather that we've had really makes you want to, get motivated.
And Jacob, we watched Jason down in New Zealand, particularly a race down a mountain with Bobby Pierce, and I think who was the owner of Bobby Pierce's car?
Yeah, Ben Harding. Yep, that's awesome. So it's like a street luge. So it's you take a ski lift to the top of this place, and then you're on basically it's almost like a plastic creeper, but you get some handlebars, and it's a ton of fun. Like we could have stayed there all day. It started raining on us, unfortunately, but it's a blast. And I wish we had something like that around here, but they got a few of them over there, so it's awesome. So
If we had too many of those around here, you might be walking away with some broken fingers, broken bones. It looked a little rough.
yeah, definitely. It's pretty fast. I mean, you can roll pretty good, and we're all trying to get all we could get. So there definitely was
Yeah.
a little bit of crashing going on, and luckily we had some GoPros to catch some of the action. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, Jacob and I are going to kind of go back and forth here. So, like I said, Gateway Dirt Nationals, I think, was your last race. Maybe wasn't the best year for the Highside Hustler at Gateway Dirt Nationals, but you may have had the most talked about moment at the Dome this year. So, in a heat race, just to give some people some background, during a double file restart, you had a little incident with one of the NASCAR guys that was kind of what do we call weekend warrior there at the Dome. So I was live there in the moment. It was kind of hard to tell live what exactly happened. I thought maybe Mike Harrison, our Highland guy, got into the rear of you, but turns out the NASCAR guy might have done you a little dirty. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bad thing about the Delaware double file restarts. If that guy on the inside wants to creep up next to you, and they're supposed to stay behind you, and I fire first, and he creeped up pretty much all the way halfway up my door. I felt like, and then when I turned down, as narrow as it was, like basically as soon as I turned down, he hit me in the left rear. And honestly, like it doesn't look that bad on the video, but like inside the car, a lot of times people hit you, and you don't even feel it. But it was very violent. I knew I was in trouble. Like like we were pretty much felt like we were hooked together there for a minute, and then that's why people thought Mike hit me, because as soon as Carson hit me in the left rear, it just and then people were like, you didn't go. Well, no, I didn't go because he's in my left rear tire. Like I instantly broke all traction as soon as he drilled me in the left rear tire. So and that's why Mike hit me, because he wasn't anticipating that either. And then it was just a bunch of chaos, and I knew as soon as we got untangled that my tire was flat. And just unfortunate because we drove a really late pill qualifying, and we still qualified second overall that night. So And we're leading our heat race, so one lap into it, first lap into it, and then there's yellow. But I felt like our car was really good, and unfortunately with that event, you can't change tires, and you're just pretty much done for the weekend the way that event goes. So we were just really upset about that, ruining our chances, because that's definitely you know that's definitely a race I want to win. It's a really special event, and we don't know how many years it's going to be around, and it's definitely been on my bucket list to try to win that thing. And uh, felt like I had set myself up really well, and just circumstances didn't go our way.
Yeah, Jacob, what did you think about all that?
I thought it stunk. I'm a big fan of yours, so I hated to see it, and but I was happy to see our homer Mike Harrison get a heat race win.
Yeah, for sure. I like Mike. He had a great rookie year, and me and him, I felt like we bait and banged and raced hard all summer. So I'm sure that's last year, and I'm sure that's going to keep on going this year. He's an animal, behind the wheel of a car, and it's that's why he makes a good late model driver. And yeah, I think he's just going to keep getting better and better.
But the way you drive at the bull rings, your success at those little tight bull rings, man, that Gateway Dirt Nationals is like, it's almost made for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it just gets a little too rough. I don't prefer them that rough. Uh, and it's like, I don't know. And then I just haven't had a lot of luck there either. We broke a few times, and been really fast and broke, which obviously with the way the track being so rough, it's hard on equipment. So it takes a lot of luck there. Um, but yeah, I feel like when the track's smoother there, or a little racier, we're usually a lot better. But like I say, when it's just that rough and a little different, it's just I don't know. It is what it is, but it's the
Takes a lot
dome,
of
and
luck.
it does, but it's an awesome event. I mean, I don't feel like there's any atmosphere like it in our sport. Maybe the closest thing's the World 100, but I still feel like the buzz at the dome might be even cooler than there.
Wow.
So it's just, I love it there, and hopefully that we can keep doing it. But did I see some drawings for a new proposed stadium down there? I thought. Um,
Oh, I haven't. I
yeah,
haven't. I haven't
I
seen
saw
that.
some. Well, I follow football pretty well, and I mean they're definitely, I think, wanting to get a team back, or even with the Battlehawks getting them bigger down there. I saw some proposed drawings for a new, base. It looked like they're going to tear it down and rebuild a new one, or maybe just completely remodel it. I'm not sure. Obviously, doing all that addition on the back of it, so I could imagine that, they complain constantly about the mess that we make in there now. So I just can't believe if they really remodel it or make it a lot nicer, they're going to keep wanting us back. So unless we can figure out a way to control the dust a lot better than we do. Um, so I don't know. Who knows how long it'll be around? But I mean, I love it, and I hope it's around forever, because I don't know where else we would go to do it.
One thing we talked about, we were going to start a GoFundMe to put a roof on Highland Speedway, and we could just do it at Highland.
Well, there we go. Absolutely.
Jacob, you're up.
There was a Southern All Stars race this weekend at Cherokee where they posted qualifying heat races and feature, but from what I've seen on the internet, they scrapped the heat races due because the late models didn't qualify or line up in time. What do you know about this? And has that ever happened to you where an event was just like, hey, we're scrapping heat races and we're going to go straight from
Nah,
qualifying to features?
it just kind of seen a little bit I saw on the internet, but down south, it's not really uncommon for them. They honestly don't run a lot of heat races. A lot of their shows down there, they just go qualify, and then basically, if there's enough cars for the B main, then like basically they go right into B mains. They lock in like your top 14 or 16 anyway from qualifying. So it's not like it's uncommon down south. That happens all the time. So I don't know. I didn't pay that much attention to how many cars there were. Like if there wasn't enough cars for the full field, I could see them going around for qualifying. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even know who the race director was or anything like that. But sometimes they get a little. I don't know. There's so many things that different scenarios. It's been a long time since I've been down to Gaffney, so I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the PA broke. Maybe Maybe they had the lineups wrong. Like they didn't get them up in time, and people didn't know what heats they were even supposed to be in. Or there's a million different scenarios, right? Like maybe the schedule originally had a different heat race class slated in front of them, or maybe the guys just weren't up there. I don't know, but typically we have a good idea of when to get up there. So I feel like there probably was a reason or something that came about that maybe probably more than likely just a miscommunication. So But like I say, really, I feel like at Gaffney and the way they race down south a lot, it probably really it's not really that abnormal.
Well, tell us a little bit. I like origin stories, Jason. So maybe tell us a little bit how you got started in racing and who were some of your biggest influences kind of racing growing up as a kid.
Um, well, so my grandpa raced, which I never got to see him race, but they said he was pretty decent. He actually would have been back like in the kind of the even before ARCA, like the USAC. There really was kind of one class, so he ran all over with some of that
Was
stuff.
that
But it was
Red
it
Griffin? Red Griffin?
yeah, it'd be Red Griffin, yeah.
Okay.
So, but it would have been like the full bodied USAC cars, not like people think of nowadays with the midgets or with the sprints or whatever. Um, so he raced, and then my uncle raced, and then my dad raced a little bit. So I've pretty much been at the racetrack since I was a baby, and I've just always loved racing. I just always whatever I could, whatever if it had wheels on it, which I didn't really have anything with power growing up other than like BMX stuff. So we were always trying to race anything we could, like, and always just figured out I wanted to race. Just was a means of finding the money and doing it, and so we I always helped my uncle, and then living here in Bloomington when I was 15, I just actually moved. We moved right down the road from Billy Drake's dad, Steve Drake. Billy Drake. He won a lot of races. And his dad Steve, he actually raced a long time too. Back in the day, and so I actually lived a few blocks away from them, so I was able to ride my bike down and help them a bunch. So that's where I learned a ton from Steve Drake, Billy Drake's dad. I'd be down there. I'd fix. Once we got to racing, I'd actually fix my sportsman car, and then I'd go down there and work on their car, and because they raced a lot more than I did, and there wasn't much to do on a sportsman car. But after high school football, it's like, what do? There's no more sports and this and that. And my grandpa, we kind of started a small racing parts business, and would go to the trade shows and he used to put on a big swap meet here in Bloomington for a long time, and so we got to spun off of that. He started selling a few parts, so me and my brother would go with him, and we would we would go to the swap meets all winter and sell parts and find deals on used stuff, and we slowly built enough stuff up to build an old used sportsman car, and just ran a little bit for the first few years in it, and then once I graduated college, which I just went to Parkland to be a mechanic for the Ford program, and so it was a 2-year deal, and once I started making a little bit of money, I pretty much put all the money I had to my sportsman car into the racing, and we built a good car, and I think we ran a sportsman for like 4, maybe 5 years, but the last 2 years, we won like 19 features or something the last 2 years with sportsman cars, so we were really good. And honestly, I didn't really want to move up into a late model yet, but a lot of guys were jumping ship like from the sportsman class. A lot of good drivers were jumping and moving around and stuff, and so I just felt like it probably was time because it doesn't really do. I don't feel like it'd do us any good just to sit, And yeah, I would have won a lot more races, but it doesn't really do you any good at the end of the day. Like at that level in my mind, if that's not your ultimate goal. So I got good money out of the sportsman car because it was a really good car, and found a good used late model and a good used motor, and just kind of started racing, and been fortunate that we've done really well and just be able to keep growing and growing. So, but it's been a long time.
What year did you start late model racing?
Uh, my first late model, we were in 2002, so just over
Okay.
20 years now.
Who were some of the drivers that you looked up to that you competed with back then? Or who?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I loved watching Shannon Babb, and I loved watching Don O'Neill race as hard as he drove. You know what I'm saying? They were just really entertaining, and I mean, because I'd go around helping Billy Drake on the Summer Nationals a lot, so I really got to see O'Neill and Babb and Moyer go at it a lot. I felt like, uh, but Bob Pierce actually, when I was a little kid, I really liked Bob Pierce. Uh, he was definitely one of my favorites, and Dick Taylor. So and Jim Leka. So them guys as a little kid is at Farmer City were who I liked racing a lot.
Because
Or
that's where
liked to
you
watch.
grew up. You grew up at Farmer City, right?
Basically grew up Farmer City. Yeah, Farmer City's 25 minutes from the house, so it's really
Okay.
close.
And the Highside Hustler, where did the nickname come from, and who gave it to you?
I'm not real sure. I think it might have came from the announcer over at Boswell Speedway, Camp Speedway, or whatever in Indiana. I'm pretty sure he's the one that started calling us, just because we kind of got once we got the dice on there, and then it just kind of came into there, and then I don't know, it just kind of fit and it stuck. It was either that or my mom, but I thought it might have been the guy at Roswell, but I'm not sure. She would probably remember for sure. So if she's watching, she could maybe comment, but yeah, it's just kind of stuck from there, and it's been pretty fitting.
So the dice is craps your game.
No. We definitely would roll plenty of dice, but I like playing like horses races, whatever you want to call it, or ship captain crew a lot. But I like craps too, but whatever. But just it was more of, I just thought it was a cool idea with the 2 and the 5, and it was
Yeah.
funny because me and my mom argued forever about it. She hated the idea because she was like, it doesn't make sense. That's 7. I'm like, it's fine. It's 2 and 5. People will understand. And so it took me a while to convince her, because she does almost all of my art, and back then she did all of the art and the graphic design, and like we actually made our own stickers and everything. And so it took me a long time to get her to on board with the idea. And now now it's like her favorite thing. So it's really stuck, and people love it, and it's just something different. And uh, I don't know, this kind of, I like gambling, like just in general, like whether it's with money or with it's in life, or just, what I'm saying. I take chances, and I just don't feel like I don't know. I'm not one to just sit and stay content, I guess. So just kind of always the name of the dice always kind of fit me.
Well, your she's a big supporter. I always see her on Facebook. She's always liking the posts, and she's very, very supportive, and always comments, when you do well in the comments. So that must be great to have her as support.
Yeah, absolutely. Grandma, she's diehard racing and football. Like, that's her two things. And even NASCAR, like she knows more about NASCAR, way more about NASCAR than I do. She probably knows more about NASCAR than I'd say 90% of the people out there. So
Hmm.
she's very passionate about racing, and she follows it close, and she's watches all the videos out on YouTube and stuff. Like, probably, I don't even know how many times, at least 5, 6 times. She watches everything on Dirt, reads everything. So it's pretty awesome to see that, is kind of, she's getting up there in age, and her and my grandpa, they had every dirt magazine and every, the Dirt Digest and the Speed Sport News. So she didn't stop once they quit doing that. She just kept figuring out a different way to follow it. So for grandma, I feel like she's very tech savvy on that stuff, but sometimes she drives my mom nuts, but she definitely tries to stay up to date, and she loves it. So hopefully we can, she definitely has a lot of years left on going to the racetrack and cheering us on.
Well, maybe we need to have her on the podcast sometime. She sounds like a pretty interesting lady.
She is a hoot. She has a lot of stories.
Yep. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, before I get into my question, you said you looked up to Don O'Neill growing up. I know you guys had an incident at Knoxville 12, 13 years ago. Looking up to somebody, then you have like an on-track incident with them. Do you still like, man, I looked up to that guy, or you just kind of push that under the table and just kind of be like, oh, that was just a racing deal?
No, he's probably not the best person. And he's definitely a dirty driver. But when I was young, I didn't really realize it. And he was fun to watch because he was so aggressive. And then he definitely could do stuff in race car that a lot of people can't. There's no doubt that he's talented about it. I mean, he's very talented at what he did. But it just it's frustrating. That's hard as a little kid. Like they always say, you're better off not to meet your heroes. And unfortunately, the older I've got, the more I found that is to be true. So definitely, I try not to live my life that way for sure, because there's nothing worse than when you're, a little kid, and you grow up to figure out your hero is not who they thought they were. And unfortunately, I know that way too well. So I try not to live my life that way, and I sure hope that people see that, and I hope that more people live by that rule.
Yeah, like I said, I'm a fan of yours. One time at Tri City, you thanked me for just buying a hoodie. I passed you in the pits. And then the last, I think 2020, when you won the Summer Nationals race, came to buy a T-shirt, and you're like, "Hey, you want to tour the trailer? I got to go in there anyways. You just want to follow me?" And you kind of showed me around. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, we try. It's hard because we're really busy, and we try to do as much as we can. And most drivers would like to do more. And I feel like it's getting harder and harder because these cars are so much more work now than they used to be. And it's like we spend so many more hours a day in a week working on these things, and then even at the track, and it's just all the little details now are so much more important than they used to be when I started. So I feel like we don't have as much time to do that, but we love meeting people. We love explaining stuff to them, especially people that are, really curious about the sport and are really into it and are fans and stuff. So, we try our best to. I wish we had more time to do more stuff like that. And, I wish some of the tracks could do. It's hard, I wish some of it, they can't do it. A lot of places can't, but I wish we could make more time to interact, or, there's only so many hours in the day. So it makes things tough. But like I say, we try to do the best we can. I feel like my crew does too. So they're pretty personable, but yeah, that's what people always say, like, man, I swear everybody has a shirt of yours. I said, yeah, I probably drank a beer with pretty much every one of them too.
So you've pretty much ran regionally. You follow the summer nationals, the Mars stuff. Do you ever see you're chasing a national tour? And if you had to pick one, which one would you choose?
Um, well, I definitely, if I had to pick one right now, I would pick the Outlaws, just because strategically it'd be better for me because they run more of our areas, more up in our area, and I've been to way more of their tracks than I have the Lucas tracks. Not really because I like one series more than other series or anything. I feel like they're both good series. Um, it's always was a dream of mine and a goal of mine to do it. Absolutely. I feel at this stage in my life, it might be a little harder, especially with the little one. Um, I I sacrificed a lot and gave up a lot, and I missed a lot of stuff in life with my friends and family and stuff like that, just because I thought I had to be at the racetrack. So it's changed as older I got. I like being at my house. I like being home. I like sitting on the couch watching some TV and just relaxing and enjoying what I have. So, um, but I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't. But my thing why we never did is I just didn't want to commit and be like half in or have to stop because we ran out of motors or we ran out of this. And like, I have some really good sponsors right now, but we still, a lot of it is my own money, or basically what we win and what we sell merchandise. So obviously we're gambling with really expensive motors and race cars here. So, you can be one motor away, breaking one motor can be the difference of making a profit or losing money at the end of the year. So, uh, I try to race smart with my money. Um, in that sense, if somebody came in and said, "Hey, here's an open checkbook, and whatever it takes, I want you to go do this," then that's a different story, because you can have I don't have to worry about how am I going to pay the crew guys this week, how am I going to, afford tires, how am I going to do this if this breaks, like, or I could hire more help, the guy, it's tough, I mean, there's a lot of strategic things that go into that, especially the where we're at right now in the sport. So I just didn't want to. I mean, if I did a series like that, I wanted to do it to really be successful and put myself in position to try to win one. So, or not, I mean, which I know it'd be really hard, but you're not. I just don't never want to go in there and like half-ass it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we never really try to tackle it. And then we're also really lucky where we live. We have so many good races and so many good tracks around here that there's just really not the need to go do it. Um, but that's kind of the biggest reasons why I haven't done it. But it always was a goal or a dream to go do that for a couple of years.
Well, Jacob, I'm going to skip ahead one question, kind of stick to your order. But you mentioned something, Jason, that I want to bring up. You became a dad in the last couple of years. So we've seen little Win at the track a lot, along with your wife. How has that changed your life? I mean, and has that changed the way you race? Has that changed the way you operate? How does that? Because we're probably you're in your 40s, right? So you became a dad.
Yeah, 45.
A little bit later. Yeah. Yeah. So how is that? Yeah. How has that affected your life?
Well, there's a lot less hours in the day now, that's for sure. She demands a lot of time. It's a lot of work. So it's crazy. I mean, she's so much fun though, and she's really getting to a fun age. She keeps us laughing nonstop. So, and just probably the biggest thing is like, I want to be in the shop working, but I also want to appear seeing her. So it's tough, because then, when I'm out there working and she's at the sitter and, Abby's working, and then when we get home, you really only got, 2 3 hours before she goes to bed. So it's tough, so there's nights I'll go back out to the shop or whatever, but I'm just it's a struggle trying to balance, honestly. And then, obviously when she was a baby, it's probably not quite as big of a deal, but now it's like you really don't. It's like I feel like if you miss 3 days, you miss something new. So it's gonna be an interesting summer. But luckily, her and Abby really love going racing. Wynn's all about the race cars, so we get to see him a lot, and it's definitely a game changer. But it's really special as well.
I mean, the name Win Feger. I mean, that is a racer's name. You think? I mean, do you see her behind the wheel eventually?
There's a good chance. I don't know. Whatever she wants to do, I kind of hope she ends up being a golfer or a tennis player. Something be a lot cheaper in my book. But I don't know. I always wanted to race BMX as a kid. So I guess we got some really good BMX racers up here in town that I'm friends with. They're kids, and I'll probably push her to make her pedal. So if she wants it, she's really gonna have to earn it. So that'd be my step for her. Probably first if she wants to do that. I mean, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But obviously, it's whatever she wants. But I can tell you, like we every day she gets from daycare and it's nice outside. We rip around on the pit bike or the 4-wheeler, and she thinks it's the blast. I put her on a snowmobile a couple of times this summer or winter when we had a little bit of snow, and she just anything that goes fast and makes a lot of noise. She's all about it right now. So hopefully she's my little. I hope she's adventurous and wild and wants to do something fun like that. So I don't know if I could sit there and watch a softball game or something like that long all day in the summer. So it might be hard on me, but so yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, she's got it. She's got it in her blood. There's no doubt about that. So she's got that,
Yeah, for
I'm sure,
sure.
competitive drive, and she wants to win. And again, I've lots of my friends that have kids, the drivers. Yeah, their kids usually want to go fast too.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jacob.
So what's the plans for 2024? And when's your first race going to be?
I think the first race is going to be the Nippy 50. I can't ever say it, Makokota, Iowa. It's Hooker sponsored, and Ricky Kai are putting it on. So obviously Hooker sponsors us, and Ricky Kai is a great guy. He was a promoter at Davenport there the last few years, but they're up in Makokota now. So I've never been there, which I didn't even realize it's only like an hour, maybe 45 minutes north of Davenport. So it's really not as far as I thought. Um, so that's planning on being our first race. The season's probably looking really similar to last year, which, like I said, we're just so fortunate to have so many good races in this area, especially like man with what February puts on throughout the year, for how many special events they have, Farmer City, and now you guys are having more and more specials, so that's awesome. And then Granite City always has their bunch, so and then the Mars series is a big boost too, so that really helps get us to race for some more money around here. And then throw the Hell Tour in there, so it's like we got a full slate again. So I mean, I imagine we'll be probably right in that 70 to 80 races again, depending on the weather, and that's a lot of racing in a short amount of time. And but luckily, we're usually 2-3 hours from the house, so it's pretty nice.
Yep. I mean, racing is your full-time job, right?
Yeah, yep. We that's what we do, and then we do sell some parts and we do some body work and stuff like that for customers. So we're having like a 6-year process of building a new shop. So it's just doing most of the work ourselves, and when money and stuff comes in, and it's been slow going, but hopefully maybe by the winter time we can be in this thing for sure this year. So we've been making big gains on it this past winter, and once that gets done, I hope we can take on some more work, as far as that stuff, fab work on race cars, and really maybe sell quite a few more parts and stuff. And obviously, uh, with the Longhorn deal is going as good as it has been for me, I'm starting to get some people that want, there's getting some more of them cars around here. So I've already got a few customers that want some tech support and stuff like that. So that's a big deal. Which we did a lot of that actually when I had the Pierce chassis. Uh, I had a ton of customers. You know what I'm saying? Because there was a lot of them cars, and they would bring them here, and I'd put bodies on them, and uh, we'd scale them out, go through them, sell them parts, a lot of that stuff. So I kind of got to look for something to do when I retire. I don't know how many years I can do this or how much longer we can sustain making money anyway at it. So kind of looking for something for to supplement some income, and and then we got a lot of money tied up in tools and just equipment and stuff like that. So you might as well make as much money as we can with it. So hopefully we can do some more of that here shortly, and then but yeah, pretty much other than that, it's just the racing and merchandise sales.
Do you feel like it's getting easier or harder to make a living at racing now?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we're making more money, but everything costs more money, so it's probably just a wash. Obviously, with as much racing as there is right now, I feel like the last couple of years has been better. But like probably back in the mid to late 2000s, I felt like was really good as well. Um, but like because I remember when I started, we had Northern All Stars, we had Monster Midwest, and then you had the Summer Nationals. Like so, we had. I feel like we had more series, and it would spread people around, so you're not all beating each other up. And then once Monster Midwest went away, Northern All Stars went away, and then even Mars kind of died and bounced around for a little bit. Like then it was like if there's a 5 or 3,000 win, like there's a whole bunch of us there beating each other up, right, for not much money. So uh, now there's more races that pay more money. So you got and guys are being more selective, because it's just so hard and so much work that you can't race every big money race. And then you throw in the XR, you throw in the Flow, Lucas, Outlaws, Mars, even now that Ultimate has some good paying races, Southern All Stars. Now you got the Hunt the Front comes in. So you're going to see Lucas guys to where, or an Outlaw guys where they would have wanted done a lot of these races. Well, now they're staying home or they're being more selective. So, maybe instead of come up here to your race or the PDC, they're just going to take that weekend off and regroup because they got this other stuff. So that makes it better for a lot of guys. A lot more opportunity for guys to make money that way. Because I mean, we don't really need 80 cars a night at a big race because there's a lot. Unfortunately, the way these races pay, there's not a lot of guys that get to eat if you don't do good. So hopefully, some of these guys are trying to fix some of the pay, but they're still, in my mind, got a long way to go. I feel like that's a whole nother subject, but that's something that our sport really needs to do to make our sport better. I think, and to keep continuing to get it to grow. And somehow, a couple of these promoters and series, they think that if it doesn't say 50,000 win, there won't be anyone in the stands. But I completely disagree with that. We just need to spread that money out, and as long as the good drivers are there and the names are there, the fans are going to be there.
Yep. Hey Jacob, I know we really enjoy watching, the stuff that he's been doing on social media. You had a question about that back up a little bit.
Yeah, I watched some of your videos. What made you guys want to get into that side? Like you said, time's already limited, and I know editing's a time consuming. Um, it takes a while. So what made you guys want to dive into that?
Well, actually, like I'm not gonna lie, I don't do anything, so I'm really lucky. My Zach Cool is a really good buddy of mine, and we've been pretty good buddies for a while. And he actually had this idea a long time ago, like even before Hunt the Front, and I just didn't understand it. Like I'm not much of a YouTuber, and I am now. But like typically, the only time I'd go on YouTube is to learn how to if I need to fix something, right, or how do I need to take something apart or something like that. But like I never understood it, and I didn't understand that you can get monetized and you can make money on it, and uh, you know, there's I just the world's changing, and Zach Zach just was into that stuff, right? He's really into YouTube, and like he's a guy that he doesn't pay a cable bill or anything like that, so he watches everything on YouTube. So like, and I'm the opposite. We've always had cable, and I watch TV and a lot of sports. So but I didn't understand that there's a lot of people like that's how they are, right? And it just unfortunately took us too long to do it. And so Zach, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? And he finally convinced me, and I wish I would have listened to him a long time ago. But man, he works his butt off. He works a full time job, and then he does this on the side. And there's a lot of nights he's leaving work, driving to the track, and stays up all night editing. And I give him a little money for it and stuff, but not near as much as for as hard as he works. But he just has a real passion for it, and he loves doing it. And he'd love to be able to get to where we can make enough money, or even if whatever it takes, so he could quit his job to just do it full time. So, and that's something we wish we could bring you a lot more content through the garage and tech stuff. And there's a lot of stuff there we know we would love to do, but he's working a full time job, so it makes it hard. And then me and Redbeard, we're not too savvy with it, and I'm really not. But Redbeard, he tries to do his Redbeard minutes and stuff like that. So, and then as Zach, as good of a buddy as he is, like, so we built the one hustler car, and actually I gave it to him because he was gonna be done racing, and I said, hey, he helped me build it, and I said, let's finish this thing up. It sat here unfinished. I said, let's finish it up, and you can have it.
Mm.
So we finished it, and he did really good there. The year and a half he drove it, and then he just in a crate car, but he just needs his motor's pretty wore out and stuff. And he doesn't have the extra money, and so he took off basically all last year. He didn't race at all last year, and just to try to make this deal go, and just because he wanted to try it and just to help me out. So I can't say enough about what he does and how good of a friend he is for me. So it's pretty awesome, and it's crazy, the response that it's gotten. Like, we look at the view numbers and stuff, and some of them have been good, and some of them are just okay. But man, it's constantly we got people talking about it and talking to you about it, and I see the biggest reflection of my merchandise sales, I think. But then like even like a lot of my product sponsors and stuff like that, they watch it, and people love it, so it's really cool. And it's been a little slower growing than we feel like, and it's something I can't stress enough. If you're out there watching, if you are on YouTube, like, it means a lot to really, you definitely need to log in, subscribe to the channel, and like the videos. And not just me, just anybody that you like that's on there making content. That's how YouTube does their algorithms, and that's how people make money, and it really helps things grow. So I feel like, we got like 50,000 followers on Facebook and only like 7 on YouTube, I think. So some reason it's like I got people all the time. I'm like, yeah, we watch all the videos. I'm like, you subscribe and like them? She's like, no, but we watched every one of them. I'm like, but that happens a lot. I think a lot of people just don't know that. And then the other bad thing about the YouTube deal is like Facebook blocks it out basically completely. Like if you share, like go to YouTube, if you put like a direct link right on the thing, like Facebook basically won't boost it to anybody without you paying to do it, because they don't get anything from it. So it really makes it hard to get that word out of there if you don't go actively looking for it. So as we try to be creative in ways to do that, but it's hard, so but it is really cool, and it's another avenue. And I feel like we've gotten a lot better with it, and we still know we need to do better work and do more. Like I get, I can be pretty personable, but like when I'm at the track, a lot of times, like I don't know, I always say I get like tunnel vision, right? Like I can walk by right by a good buddy and not even see him. Like I just, if I'm in my head, like thinking about stuff, like I'm just in the zone, like I just sometimes I get that way real easy, and real focused, and I can be in it for the whole night sometimes, and like just feel like I'm in. And I was like, then after the race is over, I'm like, man, did I see that guy, or like what? It's like, I just, and it's not always that way, but sometimes that way. But it's hard for me to like, and Zach really tries to do a good job of not. He does too good of a job about respecting me and my space and not trying to push me. And I wish he'd shove the camera in my face more, and make me say stuff more. But I know we need to try to do a lot more talking and a lot more interaction and stuff like that. So uh, that's something we're going to constantly try to work on. But like, we're not professionals at it, but we feel like we're trying to get better. And it's going to take a while to get to where it's just kind of second nature to us.
Well, kudos to Zach, though. I mean, I got to meet Zach when you guys were in Highland. And I mean, some of the editing that he probably is staying up all night doing that editing, because some of the editing that he
Oh
does
man,
on the short form video, like your TikTok stuff, your reels, man, it's like the transitions, the music, like he's good.
yeah, he is. And then it's hard, like too, uh like on the YouTube stuff, like you can't use some certain music, or if there's music in the background, they won't pay you, right? Like,
Yep.
so it's really hard to find what songs you can use, even with some of the TikToks and stuff like that. So it's like it's not like he's just picking a song. He has to like actively go search and this and that, and it's really a pain in the butt for him to figure out some of that stuff. And there's so many rules and this and that I'm like, really? And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, who knew? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's just so weird how all the intricacies, all that stuff works. So yeah, he puts in, I don't even know, he puts in tons of hours.
Yep. Well, speaking of that, when I was talking to Zach at Highland, tell us, and you've mentioned it in a couple of videos that I posted, you've been really generous. So thank you, for all your generosity. Whenever we text you, whenever we ask something of you, you're always real quick to support us. But why do you like coming to Highland?
Well, obviously, you guys' fans are pretty crazy down there, so it definitely has a great atmosphere. And as a driver, I mean, it's kind of, I guess, what I was talking about, like at the dome too. It's like, for me, I love the energy, I love the atmosphere, and obviously, when the crowd's rowdy, it makes you want to do good, right? When they're going crazy and really into it, it's more fun. It makes you want to go better. Like, so, ever since day one, we went down there. I mean, a lot of fans coming. It's in, it's one of the places too. It's kind of like Fairbury. Highland's kind of similar to where it's really easy for the fans to get into the pits after the races. So I always feel like that makes a difference, too. So uh, it's always been a fun place. Honestly, I used to hate the racetrack when I first started going there a long time ago. We were awful there, and I feel like they've done a good job getting the track. It's been through a few different phases, obviously. I feel like throughout my career, but here the last for a while, it's been pretty good. And always, it might not be the best in the heats and stuff, but I feel like come feature time, it always puts on a dang good show. And I love the bull ring racing. It just I just do. I don't know what it is about it. Like I love Macon. I like Highland. Like I love the little bull ring. Jacksonville, I love. So the smaller, the better. I mean, not the better, but it just I like them small. So it's fun for me. And uh, I don't know. I've been really good at them, and so it's always cool getting to go there.
Yeah, well, we've got 15 super late model nights in 2024, so more than double what we
Wow,
had last year. So we hope
awesome.
to see more. We hope to see more of the Highside Hustler in
Yeah,
2024.
but definitely you got the Mars race. You got the Outlaw show, the Hell Tour show, right? Is it one Mars
World of
race or
Out.
two?
Well, two Mars dates. Only one of them super late models though. But
Okay,
we got World of
yeah,
Outlaws in August. So yeah, we're really
yeah.
stepping it up this year. And even more to come. I think 2025 and beyond. So, Jacob,
Yeah, that'll be
you
crazy.
had we're working on the flow,
I
guys.
don't.
We're
You're
talking. We're
gonna have to
talking.
find some more bleachers.
Well, there's a plan in place for that. So we're adding 1,000 seats. We're adding 1,000 seats, Jason, in turns 3 and 4. So it's going to be pits only bleachers. So people in the pits now, the drivers, all your
Yeah,
crew will have a place to go and watch the races. That's the problem. When we sell out that place, there's nowhere for the crew to watch.
that Summer National crowd this year was insane. It was packed.
Yeah, that was the one time biggest crowd we've ever had, 3,000 plus there at the track, and
Wow.
there wasn't a place to stand, another place to
No,
stand to
no.
watch.
It's always packed at that race, but I couldn't believe how many people were there this year.
Yeah, we really upped our game, so our numbers are up big time for the last couple of years. So yeah, we're
That's
looking forward
awesome.
to seeing you. Jacob, you wanted to ask him something about the different regions.
Yeah, which state or region do you think has the toughest competition?
Um, I mean, I'm a homer. I feel like Illinois is as tough as it comes for a local deal, right? Like, um, and even like that Mars stuff and some uh I feel like we're really tough. And then I would say out east is pretty tough too. They got some pretty good guys too. I mean, and down south has a few, but I feel like they're probably a little more spread out. But like, I just feel like you don't see a lot of guys wanting to come into our area. People are like, why don't we get these guys and those guys? It's like, well, because they don't want to come here. And if you're not running top 10, you're not going to make any money, and it's not easy to do. So I feel like we definitely have a really deep field around us most of the time, and a lot of regional talent.
And lots of local guys too. I mean, at every track
Yeah,
you
for
go to
sure.
here, I mean, when you come to Highland, there's 3 or 4 guys that, I mean, Chad Zobrist, for instance,
Yeah,
I mean, a guy who
yeah,
doesn't run the new equipment but knows how to do it. I mean, he may not have the newest chassis, but he's got some good parts on it. But
yeah.
he goes out in a 15-year-old rocket and
Rocket.
makes
Hmm.
the show at the Gateway Dirt Nationals.
Oh yeah, yeah. Old
So,
Bulldog, he can get around them bull rings real good.
yeah. Well, one last question I want to ask you, then we're going to kind of start to wrap things up, Jason. What would you say? What's the biggest win of your career? If you had to pick just one.
Well, I'm not real sure to tell you the truth, because they've all been about 10. They've all been like 10,000 wins, pretty much is like the biggest stuff we've won. Um, Definitely my most memorable would have been like my first big one I won was Kentucky Lake Motor Speedway. Won a 7,500, and I had to pass Bab and Moyer to do that,
Hmm.
and that would have been in maybe '08, you know, or '08 or '09, probably '09, I think. And then I was in the Pierce car, and like the second year in the Pierce car, and it was that's kind of when we really started to shoot up, and then that was pretty awesome. And then obviously my very first World Outlaw race of Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Like we just we whooped them good that night, and we were nobody really still, and got our first outlaw win, and it's like holy cow, we can do this, So that's been pretty cool, and obviously like the Paducah, I've been pretty lucky there to win some Lucas races and stuff. So those were always definitely memorable. And I mean, the one that got away, I guess you could say, would be the Line I 100 that we won, and then they came back and said my tire in the heat race was no good,
2013.
So
right?
yeah. So that one obviously would have been my biggest win, and that one still stings really bad to this day. But yeah, other than that, definitely would have been, we definitely won the feature fair and square and whooped them pretty good too. So, but fortunately, the check didn't cash, right? So you can't count it. But I don't know. Like I say, I don't have the best memory when it comes to that stuff. I'm always looking forward, so I gotta like sit down and look at pictures or the checks on the wall or trophies to rehash that stuff. I'm always looking ahead. I'm not that guy that can remember every lap or every play of football in his whole career. So I'm always looking forward, and I don't have a very good memory when it comes to the past.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you've won 20 plus Summer Nationals races. Do you remember, if somebody asked you, hey, do you remember, maybe, do you remember 2020 at Highland when you came? I mean, maybe it's more memorable.
I remember that one.
Come from the back.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was crazy because like we weren't very good at all, and then we actually won the B main to get in there, and actually running that B main was probably the best thing for me because we made some adjustments and was really good in the B main and went a little bit further and just was able to, we kind of probably out-tired them a little bit that night too, but we that one definitely was memorable, especially everybody's ripping the top and I'm just putting on that bottom and the car was really good. That one was definitely pretty awesome,
Well, before 2023, that was the biggest one-day crowd ever at Highland Speedway was Summer Nationals 2020 because they shut us down about 2 weeks after that. Well, Jacob, I know you're a big fan of Jason. Anything you want to kind of wrap up with?
No, I got nothing really in particular, and just good luck to you this year.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys having on what you guys are doing on the track. So I'm glad we're gonna get to see more. And if you guys haven't, make sure you like our page on Facebook, Jason Feger Racing. Same thing. Check out YouTube. Make sure you like the videos, subscribe to the channel, Jason Feger Racing on YouTube. So we try to put out a lot of content for you. There's a lot of good stuff. So hopefully we can bring you a lot more stuff this coming summer.
Yep. And also make sure you put on your calendar to attend Hustler Fest 2025 up in Bloomington on Saturday, January 25th, 2025. So you've already got the date set for that.
Absolutely. And hustlerspeedshop.com if you want any merchandise or apparel.
Yeah, I missed out. I was supposed to come up to your party. We talked about that earlier today. I was supposed to come up with Mike Schneider. So shout out to Mike. I am going to give you a call. We'll go party sometime. I'll try and make it up there next year. But yeah, thanks a lot, Jason. Again, thank you for all the support that you give to Highland Speedway. We really appreciate it. And man, we can't wait to have you here and cheer you on.
Heck yeah, I can't wait to get there. Thank you guys.
Yep. Well, I'd also like to thank my co-host today on the Highland Dirt podcast, Jacob Blumenstein. Jacob, tell everyone where they can find you most days.
You can find me at Jansen Chevrolet in Germantown. I can tell you anything off our Chevy lot or anything off our 2 other lots.
Yep. And let me remind you, the Highland Dirt podcast is brought to you today by our friends at Jansen Auto Group. Hundreds of vehicles are available right now at gojansen.com with Jansen Ford Breeze, Jansen Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Carmi, and Jansen Chevrolet in Germantown, where you can find Jacob. They have just the vehicle you're looking for. You can search their entire inventory at gojansen.com. That's gojansen.com. They're proud to support local dirt racing and world famous Highland Speedway. So find that car on gojansen.com and then call Jacob up and get over there and buy it. But maybe you want to sponsor a race. Maybe you want to have a sign out at Highland Speedway. We're putting up the signs right now. Or maybe you want to sponsor the Highland Dirt podcast. So make sure you reach out to us, highlanddirtpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to get you all of the information. So make sure you follow the Highland Speedway and Highland Dirt podcast on all the socials, on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, and don't forget, opening night 2024 at world famous Highland Speedway is Saturday, March 16th, only 11 days away. You can also download this episode where you find all your favorite podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And I'm Kurt Vonder, Haar, your host of the Highland Dirt Podcast. And remember, folks, whether it's Peevely, Brownstown, Tri-City, Belclaire, Highland, Farmer City, or your home track, get out there and support your local dirt track, would you? We'll see you next week.